So hello everyone and welcome to UWA's Parent Information Webinar. We have over 360 people registered to sign in today from across the state and we do appreciate your time. My name is Professor Sean Hood. My role at UWA is the Associate Dean for Community and Engagement and I'm the Head of the Division of Psychiatry for the Faculty of Health and Medical Sciences. Before we begin today's presentation, I wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land we are on, the Whadjuk people. I wish to acknowledge and respect their continuing culture and the contribution they make to the life of this city and this region. So let's begin with some background about my own experiences here at UWA. I came to UWA as an undergraduate straight from high school myself, studying medicine. After completing some postgraduate specialist training in Bristol in the United Kingdom around the turn of the century, I returned to UWA and have been an academic specialist psychiatrist working at UWA and the public hospital system since 2004. I'm also the parent of a teenage son who's in his high school years now and who's been homeschooled during this year. And so I'm very aware of the pressures on all of our children and their families due to the COVID disruption and the uncertainties that have resulted. It has been a pretty tough time in all of our families, and I'm really pleased that UWA is reaching out to prospective families and is working hard to clarify exactly how it can support your children to thrive here. There have been some unexpected benefits from COVID, the 2020 experience. I've personally been using Zoom for about 5 years now to my medical students who are placed all over Perth, but now Zoom's become essentially a household word. Here at UWA, we've reconfigured a great deal of our teaching content to use these virtual classrooms, in addition to the face-to-face labs and tutorials that we use. And this gives our young adult learners who come to our university new ways to learn and to fit in their learning with their other lifestyle demands. At UWA, we've been teaching students for over 100 years now. We've got a great wealth of content that was being translated into the modern teaching pedagogy. So there are very exciting opportunities for your children moving forward into tertiary studies. This webinar will focus on what you need to know to support your child at this time of the year as they're deciding on the university study options. For our agenda today, we are going to be covering the following 4 topics. Employability, how jobs are changing, what a university education and the UWA experience can do to future-proof your child's career. With UWA courses, we're talking about the different bachelor's degrees and the admission requirements for these. Entry into UWA, the different pathways to support our students in gaining entry into UWA. And of course, scholarships, including coursework scholarships and some prizes. In terms of tech support for today, obviously we're using the Zoom webinar program, which many people have been familiar with this year, but only the presenters and myself will have audio and video. Nevertheless, we really do want to hear from you though. So please join in. To join in, you can submit your questions on the question facility in Zoom online, upvote common questions. And so keep checking the question feed, please, and do participate during this session. At the end of each presentation, there'll be some common questions that will be answered live. We also have a group of UWA staff working behind the scenes tonight to answer your questions until 7:30 p.m. As you see on the screen in front of you, if you have any technical difficulties, please contact one of our team members at the email there, events@uwa.edu.au. We're also recording the session today, so you'll be able to access this information later on. So now it's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, and that's Dilkash Parabia. Dilkash has been part of our UWA Future Students team for over 3 years now, and this year is a current UWA student studying a Bachelor of Commerce with Honours in Management. Over to you, Dilkash.
Thank you, Professor, and hi everyone. It's lovely to have you here with us today. So I'm going to kick off the webinar covering employability, UWA courses, study plans, and also entry into university as well. So to get started, we want to look at the different career progression from what's been there in the past. And what we can see is that we have that linear pathway of training up for a particular job and then practicing in that for most of your career maybe. Most people would choose a career, attend university, possibly get some education, and then pursue that particular role and go into the industry and work in that particular area. Although research suggests that this way of working is a thing of the past. What research has identified is that young people, like your children, are predicted to have 17 jobs over 5 different careers across their lifetime. So this is a very unprecedented and something new that you as parents may have never seen or navigated through yourselves, but this is what we can expect new graduates and young adults to go through in the future. So here you can see an example where a student may start in university and they may want to go into engineering there, so they could work, be a qualified engineer, and then also pursue that as their first career. With the mathematical problem and solving and strategic thinking skills that they may gain, they could then shift into a career in finance, then maybe into looking at consulting careers. Following that, they might look into leadership skills that they may have gained and go into management, and then maybe shift into something like pursuing teaching before they retire. So this is something we can expect. In addition to this, technology is advancing at a rate that will drastically change many of the jobs that actually exist today. So they will fundamentally shift. So we don't know even those new careers that will exist for them. So what are we going to do about that? So there are 2 particular challenges that graduates in the future and your children may face. One, students today will have an average of 5 different careers across their lifetime, and technology is advancing at a rate that will drastically change many of the jobs that exist today. How can we make sure our education and training is relevant for the new work order? So the way we can do that is we look again at research and what it's shown us. So the solution for this challenge is to ensure that young people, like your children, receive an education that's transdisciplinary in nature. So what that means is they can be experienced in multiple areas. In addition, to help them navigate through those 17 different jobs and those 5 different careers, young people also need enterprise skills. These are skills that aren't typically measured in exams or curriculum, but are essential in the new work order. So things such as project management, communication, digital literacy, financial literacy, teamwork, leadership, problem solving, and critical thinking. So keeping this in mind, UWA has found the solution to combat this challenge through our undergraduate and postgraduate degrees. This brings us into looking at the different qualifications that individuals can go on and acquire at different levels. Qualifications range from level 1 to level 10. The first 6 qualifications that you can see, so the certificates and diplomas, they are usually acquired at a TAFE education level. If you choose to study at a university after high school, so if the students choose to do university, the first qualification they would expect to come across is a bachelor degree, which is an undergraduate degree. If students were to continue their progression through university, then you might look at Bachelor of Honours, graduate certificates, graduate diplomas, which is at that level 8. Masters and doctorate degrees are awarded with the higher qualifications as well, where skills and knowledge to become experts in their field. So those are those higher levels of level 9 and level 10. So these are the different qualifications that make up what we refer to as the Australian Qualifications Framework. The reason I'm sharing this is because there is a steadily increased demand for postgraduate studies and qualifications in the Australian labour market, which is currently not being met by the domestic supply. More than half the people with postgraduate qualifications working in WA are born overseas, and WA graduates are competing with them for jobs here in our states, as well as working overseas and nationally. So 15% of high salary jobs in WA itself, currently held by people with postgraduate qualifications. And by 2025, 1 in every 5 jobs in WA itself will require postgraduate qualifications. This brings us to the different courses offered at university or at UWA. We divide our courses into different interest areas. We break them up into 10 different interest areas that you can see here. And so you've got your agriculture, environmental and biological sciences. So it's like your environmental sciences that students can look into, things like biology, zoology, environmental science, Then we have architecture, design and planning. So when we think about architecture, yes, it includes architecture, landscape, environmental design as well. Business and law, it's your commerce subjects in there, as well as your law, as well as studying law as well as a profession. Got data and computer sciences, where we've got artificial intelligence, you've got your computer sciences, data science degrees within there as well. Education, so we have all the 3 different levels of teaching, so you can do early childhood, primary and secondary. Engineering, we have a lot of different engineering specializations that students can look into as well here. So one of the unique things at UWA that we have within engineering is the biomedical engineering. Health and biomedical sciences, a very widely known area for UWA, where we've got the medicine, dentistry, and soon optometry as part of this area as well. Humanities and social sciences, students will find the politics and law society, those kind of areas within social sciences. Fine arts and the music will have the specific arts and music degrees within there. And then you've got physical science and mathematics as well. So you've got your chemistry, your mathematical and statistics areas as well. So UWA has expanded undergraduate courses offerings in a way that respond to the medium and long-term needs of Western Australian economy, industry and society. Our industry and community partners have identified the need for skills that address the opportunities of automation, artificial intelligence, robotics, as well as social consequences of this technological transformation within WA's changing demographic profile. So all these different interest areas, they fall into these specific bachelor degrees. So over here, you can see the ATAR requirement for our different bachelor degrees. So Bachelor of Business, Environmental Design, Music and Arts require a minimum ATAR of 75. Commerce, Science and Biomedical Sciences, an ATAR of 80. The Bachelor of Automation and Robotics requires an ATAR of 88. The Bachelor of Philosophy, Politics and Economics has an ATAR of 90. The Bachelor of Advanced Computer Science Honours, which is a 4-year degree, requires an ATAR of 92. And the Bachelor of Philosophy Honours, which is also a 4-year degree, does require an ATAR requirement of 98. So all those different interest areas that we talked about fall within these particular bachelor degrees. And we here at UWA, based on those interest areas, we can tell you which best degree will suit your areas. One of the unique degrees that we do offer, that Bachelor of Philosophy that we have at UWA, its focus is to ensure that students get the skills to identify and solve complex problems, independently manage and lead projects, and communicate incisively across a range of platforms. Within this degree, students can study any of the areas we've talked about and we've discussed. What it means is in that 4th year where they do their research, it would be surrounding their interest areas. During this course, students will also get the opportunity to do interdisciplinary project work. They will also get the opportunity to do study abroad as one of the international partners at UWA, and expanding across connections in the international community and learning that cross-cultural competency that employers really look for. We're quite lucky at UWA. There's only 2 universities in all of Australia that actually get to offer the Bachelor of Philosophy. So we're really proud to be one of the universities that can offer this particular degree for our students. So going on from here, we know that students can have a lot of different interests, or they may not be exactly sure what they want to do. So something unique to UWA is the way we have our study plans. So I'll go through that now. So when you look at a usual 3-year bachelor degree, over here in the example, you've got your 1st year, your 2nd year, 3rd year. Every year is then broken up into 2 semesters. So semester 1 and semester 2. A full-time student will study 4 units per semester. Now I'm going to share an example of a study plan here. Let's say a student has an interest in the commerce area. They've done a bit of commerce, maybe in their ATAR subjects, and they've decided, yes, I want to go into a Bachelor of Commerce and I want to choose maybe marketing as my first major. Now, along with choosing marketing as their first major, a student will complete at least 8 core units for that specific major. And it's across the first, second, and third year because students build on their knowledge year on year. Now, to aid that first major, we also have what we call foundational units, and they are the foundations of that particular degree. So over here in this example, you can see students will study things like accounting, economics, management, and statistics, not specifically related to marketing, but still within that Bachelor of Commerce area. And then students might decide, well, you know, I picked up French in my ATAR and I'd like to travel abroad, so I'm going to continue on with maybe French. And students can add what we call a second major within their 3-year bachelor degree. Same as the first major, students will see that it goes from their first year to their third year. You break up those 8 core units, and then students still have 4 broadening units left here. So these 4 units, what we call as broadening units, we encourage students to do from outside of their degree specialisation. So in this example, you can see data science, you can see a drawing unit, and also what we called work integrated learning, or a WIL unit. Now, I want to bring your attention to that first year. So in here, you can see students have got exposure to marketing, they've got a bit of exposure to data science, French, and also abroad in their commerce area. Now, let's say at the end of their first year, a student decides, well, don't want to really continue on with French because I can't see that maybe pairing up with what I want in marketing, but I really enjoy the data science side of things. So they can actually decide to continue on with that other major that they've started as part of their broadening units. So we really encourage students to use their broadening units sometimes strategically if they wish to do that. And so this student can then graduate with doing a Bachelor of Commerce with a major in marketing, as well as a major in data science. And this can really help if they want to go into something like market research as a job, or looking at working in strategic management, strategic marketing, which is where they use data and research to then drive particular initiatives in an organization. Now, another example I want to share with you today is, as you can see here, this is an example where a student has got 2 very different areas of interest and they've combined that in one bachelor degree. But a student may know that they want to do something very specific, like we talked about those Bachelor of Automation that we have. So we've got an example here where a student does a very specialized degree, focusing a lot around automation because they know that's exactly what they want. And then you've still got broadening units. All students will still do broadening units. So over here, you can see students has picked something like French to do as broadening units. Next year, we'll also have minors. So those broadening units can be counted as minors, which are recognized on students' transcript as well. And then students will still have electives. So in this example, as you can see, is math. So it's all well and true that I share these examples, but today here with me, I also have a current UWA student, Sarah, and I'm actually going to let her share her study plan and what she intends to do with that moving forward.
Okay, thank you, Dilkash. So, hi, my name is Sarah Pejhan, and currently I'm in my 2nd year of my Bachelor of Biomedical Sciences degree, studying pathology and laboratory medicine and business law. So the first thing you might be wondering is, why such a weird combination? Well, in high school, 2 of my strengths were my science units and my politics and law course. So playing with my strengths, I did some research and found that I was really interested in pursuing a career in medical law, a really niche area of the law. So I decided in university what I wanted to do was, have a major that related to law. So then I would have a good background doing the Juris Doctor, which is the postgraduate law degree at UWA. And I also wanted to do something related to science. So when I actually did hopefully get into the field that I was interested in, I'd have a good background knowledge and be able to perform really well. So the beauty of UWA's study plan was that I was able to merge these 2 completely different majors together. So looking at my study plan, we could see that my pathology major is in orange, and those are my core units. So those are core units you have to do to complete your major. And next to that, in the more turquoisey color, I have my foundational units. So those are things such as chemistry and microbiology, which still relate to my main major. And in green, I have my business law units. So that's things such as commercial law, taxation law, introduction to law, and other law-related units. And in the blue, I have my broadening units. So if we look at my first semester of my first year, we can see that I did a biology unit for my pathology major. And then next to that, you'll see I did a French unit. So like in the example Dilkash mentioned, I also did French in year 12 and decided that would be really good to continue in university, even for one unit, just to see what university level French would be like. Next to that, I have a crime unit. So crime was something I'd never done in high school, and it related with my law units really well. And the things I learned in that crime unit are still applicable, even in real life, and I really enjoyed that unit. And then next to that, we can see I did another law unit, not within the business law major, but still related to my law degree. So we can see that in my first semester, I've already done things in the area of science, arts, and crime and commerce. So you can really see the idea of the transdisciplinary skills that you can get, even just from one semester. So yeah, that's it from me. I'll hand it over to Dilkash. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks for sharing that, Sarah. So you can see here that example specific of students. So it doesn't look exactly as I gave those other examples, but you get the, I guess you understand that students can mix two very different interest areas, whether they know exactly what they want to go into, or even if they don't know, they can use that to their advantage. So moving on from here, we've got entry pathways into UWA. So ATAR is a pathway that is still available to students to use, and they can use that to gain entry into our courses. There is also what we call the First in Family program. So what that is students can get an ATAR adjustment if they are the first in their family to attend university. So that's not counting siblings that might have gone to university, just looking at the biological parents. There's also UA. So UA is for special consideration. So above and beyond, if a student has experienced hardships during this year, it could be that they may have gotten sick before their exam date, or they've had to pick up a part-time job to help support themselves throughout year 12. Anything unforeseen that came about, they can apply for special consideration through UA. So you can do that already through the application online. Students can also use other tertiary pathways to gain entry at UWA. So by doing TAFE diplomas or any other tertiary education, that is a great way to transition into university as well. And then there are also Indigenous pathways for students. So there are pathways through an Aboriginal orientation program or a Study Smarter program. So there are pathways for Indigenous students through ATAR pathways, if a student's done ATAR but hasn't met the requirements exactly, or students who haven't done ATAR at all, there are also different pathways for that as well. Students can also wait until the age of 20. So students who wait till they're at 20, they're then considered mature age students. So what that means is there are even more entry pathways for students above and beyond the ones mentioned here. So that's also an option for them. So applications for university are currently open, and there are new pathways for students as well at the moment. So year 12s this year do have different entry pathways as well, above and beyond those ones that were mentioned. So some of them being the fact that they can actually use their year 11 predicted ATAR scores to gain entry, as well as their year 12 predicted ATAR scores, or they can also sit what we call the Special Tertiary Admissions Test, which is a test students can sit at the end of the year, which is usually held at the end of December, early January by the Tertiary Institute Service Centre, or TISC. And those pathways are available to current year 12 students. And to be eligible via those particular pathways, students can actually do a direct application to UWA, and they are currently open as well. Once students actually receive their offers based on their predicted ATAR scores, they can actually immediately accept and receive their student number. And what this means is they can access the future careers tool where they can start doing modules about self-awareness, about employability. They can, they're also invited to a careers discovery workshop. So even if a student doesn't know exactly what they want to do just yet, by accepting their offer, they can start accessing all of these things. And what that allows students to also do is start exploring and seeing if they are within the correct majors or the degrees. And then what they can do is, by doing all of this, if they want to change their majors early next year before they actually commence, they can do that, and they've got that head start as well. So these modules and attending these workshops, it'll help them see what kind of jobs are out there, what might suit them. If they haven't decided on their majors, you know, what might their second major be? They learn about integrated learning, early access to the Careers Centre, and also looking at maybe finding part-time jobs at university as well. There is also the TISC application students can do, which is one application for the 4 public universities, where students can put up to 6 different preferences. You don't have to fill out all the 6 preferences for students that you can. They do have the choice up to 6 preferences, and there is always 2 rounds of offers through TISC that happens. So for high achieving students who have already decided maybe on a career path, and to encourage to take them, encourage for them to take part of advantage of the UWA professional pathways. So what that means is, one of them is the direct pathway. So a direct pathway is when students get a specifically high ATAR. So as you can see on the slide, there are particular professional pathways students can go into with those direct pathways. They still need to complete a bachelor degree, but they've got an assured spot in that postgraduate program. Now, I do want to outline that through the direct pathways, for some of the courses, you do need to still apply through TISC, like medicine, dentistry, and podiatry. So just be aware of that as well. So students can get this, what we call as the packaged offer, because they might know exactly what they want to do. They know that they've got that career in mind, and they can use the direct pathway to gain entry into that. And something new that we've introduced for next year as well is our accelerated pathway. So this is our combined bachelor's and master's degree, which is really exciting. So students who've got that 90 ATAR, that higher ATAR, get a combined bachelor's and master's degree, where normally it would take 3 years for a bachelor, 2 years for a master's. Students can actually do this combined degree in 4 years, because in their 3rd year, they would start doing those master's units. Also, what this means is if a student after 3 years doesn't wish to continue on for that 4th year, they would still graduate from what we call an advanced bachelor degree. So they're still getting recognised for those higher level units that they've done in their bachelor degree. So for students who might not meet that ATAR requirement, that's still okay. Students can do really well in that 1st year of their bachelor degree, and then they might be able to transition and transfer into the combined bachelor's master's program. So we do encourage students who are thinking of being part of this 4-year combined program, that they still try their hardest in their 1st year at university. Talk to the student officers here at UWA when you start, to make sure you're on the right track to make that conversion if you need to do that. Or you can be like most of the students. Something that I pursued is doing through what we call the graduate pathway, where students get in with a general ATAR because there is a particular bachelor degree they want to do, and that's kind of all they want to that's all they want to see at the moment. And then based on their bachelor degrees, they may choose to do a postgraduate degree to either further their careers in a specific area, which might be exactly the same as their bachelor degree, or they might decide to pursue a postgraduate degree to completely change their career path as well. And that's completely okay as well. So with this area, what we really encourage students to do is combining, like we said early on, that solution of how do we make sure students are transdisciplinary through their degrees, but how do we also give them those enterprise skills that employers are looking for? So there are many ways students can do these and get these practical skills as well, above and beyond their bachelor degree requirements. So we really encourage students to enhance this through clubs and volunteering, so extracurricular activities through the Guild. So the Guild is a not-for-profit organisation that is organised by students for students, and students can be part of clubs that are organised by interest areas in terms of what they're studying. It could also be so things like the Commerce Club for the business related students, or we also have different clubs and societies for students from different cultures, or even a fun club to fit in like the Harry Potter Appreciation Society. So at UWA, we also provide students the opportunity to take part in competitive sports as well, or social sports. So if a student wants to play sports such as like soccer or volleyball competitively, they can do so. But we also have fun sports such as Frisbee, so Ultimate Frisbee as one of them as well. So we also have the Elite Athlete program. So for any students who are performing at a national level or international level, what this program will include is it gives them scholarships, ATAR adjustments, flexibility with their schedules of exams and assignments due, so they don't have to compromise either their studies or their sporting commitments as well. Another great way to build student experiences through study abroad. Hopefully we'll be able to do that in the near future as well. So we do encourage students to take part of that opportunity when it is available for cross-cultural learning. And if you are considering university and students are living quite far away, you can also look at the different accommodation support services for students as well. So we have 5 different colleges across the university. Every college is different, every college offers something different. So we really do encourage you to look at that with your child to maybe see what best suits for them in terms of accommodation if they choose to do that. There is a lot of support services at university as well, whether that's through academic support, someone there to read the assignment, or there is maybe that support if they need to see a career counsellor or even a medical specialist on campus. So we have doctors and nurses, physios on campus. So all these support services are there for students to access. And work integrated learning as well. So this is a big part of every student's journey that we encourage them to take part of, is by taking part in work integrated learning. So where that is we have community partners, and students can actually engage with these community partners to make the most of their degrees as well. And students can actually get recognised for placements that they might do with these industry partners that we have as part of their degree as well, like I showed in that example where a student has actually done a work integrated learning unit as part of their degree. So that's really it from me. I'll definitely be happy to take questions as well, and I will answer some live questions as well. Thank you.
Great. Look, thank you so much, Dilkash and Sarah, for that very clear and informative briefing about our pathways and courses. In particular, I really appreciated hearing about just the breadth of the 10 different interest areas at UWA, and really the agility of our current study plans over the 3 undergraduate years. It's fantastic. As Dilkash shares, we're fielding questions now. We have about up to 10 minutes for this particular phase. So please enter them online and they'll be sent to Dilkash and she'll be able to respond to them, I think.
Perfect. So I've got some questions here. I'll just read them out. So if we have a conditional offer for 2021 that relies on us getting the ATAR or passing the required STAT test, do we need to apply through TISC? You know, you don't have to apply through TISC. If you've got that offer, that still stands. What will happen is, let's say you sit the STAT or you get that actual ATAR, and because you've applied to UWA directly, we'll be able to see your results there onwards. So you don't have to apply through TISC as well. Another question. Can I change my mind in my first year if I have a direct pathway or accelerated pathway? Yes, certainly. So students can choose to not continue on with a specific direct pathway or accelerated pathway, or decide something else. That's completely okay. You're not locked into your direct pathways or accelerated pathways. Do I have to provide my predicted year 11 ATAR? What if I don't have it and only have my year 11 report? That's perfectly okay. So here at UWA, we can actually look at your marks from your year 11, and from our end, we can do that ATAR calculation. So just send through those reports and we can work with that. So you can apply with that. That's completely understandable. Okay. What do students get to choose their majors? What happens if I want to change my major after I've chosen it? So yes, that's completely okay, and that's why we really encourage you, if you've got that offer, then accept it, talk to the Careers Centre team, do those workshops so you can make those changes as early on as possible. Even after studying that for a week or two, if you want to change, there is that little grace period where you can change your majors. And that's a great way to use your broadening units as well, where you might decide to go on one pathway, then pursue a different pathway. So that's completely okay. You've changed those majors around. We really encourage students to do that in their first year, to try, test and trial a few different things that they're interested in, and before pursuing that particular area. What's the difference between Bachelor of Commerce and a Bachelor of Business? Okay, so the different majors that come within the Bachelor of Commerce, they're the very technical, statistical, those kind of majors. So things like accounting, finance, business law, those kind of things. So very specific, and the pathways. So whereas the Bachelor of Business, that is looking at more your holistic approach to business as well. So those include things like global business, entrepreneurship, and those kind of things. So that's the biggest difference. Also, if you look at the entry requirements, because if you go into those accounting, economics, you do need to do that statistics as well. So you've got the higher ATAR and math requirements, whereas the Bachelor of Business doesn't, because those specific majors don't have those requirements for you to do statistics. So that's the difference. Can a student start his or her degree on a full-time basis and transition to part-time, vice versa, subject to the requirements and conditions of the degree? Specifically undertaking Bachelor of Science. Yeah, that's completely understandable. Students can start off being a full-time or a part-time student. So a full-time student is usually someone who does 3 to 4 units, part-time student, someone who does 1 or 2 units. And yes, you can choose and change and those kind of things. If you are planning to do that, I highly recommend talking to the student office, in let's say for this example, to the science student office, because some units could have prerequisites for the second year units or third year units. So just to make sure that when you're transitioning from part-time to full-time or full-time to part-time, that you're meeting those prerequisites so it doesn't extend the degree longer than you wanted to. So the best thing is to get that support early on if you want to make those transitions. Are the predicted ATAR for year 12 pathways still open? Yes, definitely. You can still apply using your predicted ATAR scores from year 11 or year 12. So definitely apply as soon as possible. Our Future Students team's more than happy to help you with those applications if there's anything you get stuck on. So please do reach out to us if you have any issues with that. All right, lastly, we've got someone wants to study music and maths equally, then do a Masters of Teaching with the end goal of being that they can teach both math and music. What's the best way to go about this? We've been advised several ways and are now a bit confused. Okay, so doing music and math. So there is a Bachelor of Music, as you would have seen in one of the slides, and that's really for students who want to solely focus on music. And then yes, you might be able to do maths as a minor, and then go into teaching. Or you can do one major as music and one major as math. What that does allow students to do is they wouldn't get that sometimes that one-on-one instrumental music requirements in that. So it really depends how much they want to focus on that music, but they can definitely do maths and statistics as a second major. And when they go into secondary teaching, they can actually have 2 different specializations, and if they've done that in their undergraduate degree as well. So then you could specialize in music or math and then have another one as your secondary kind of specialization within a Masters of Teaching, and that's okay. For something like that, something so specific, I really recommend they should be speaking to someone in the student office, in the education student office, saying my end goal is teaching in these areas at least. and what are the best ways to go about my majors, with the minors being introduced as well. It could be that they might do the double major in music and then have the math minors, and that could still be enough to do Masters of Teaching with both those areas of specialisation. So for those really specific ones, I do encourage you to please reach out to the Education Student Office as soon as possible, as soon as you've accepted that offer, and we can kind of work through and we can create those study plans as we shared earlier, and we can create those either just for the first year or even for your 3 years, and you can do that year-on-year change and make adjustments according to what your interest might change. So that's really it from me. Thank you so much for joining. I'll now pass it on to Professor Sean Hood.
Great. Thanks so much for that, Dilkash. You can have a break now, well-earned break. If there are questions in the background related to that content, please send them through. Our team is working behind the scenes to capture all those and answer those. But now it's my pleasure to introduce our next colleague speaker. This is Joanne Manalip, who's the Senior Officer for Coursework Scholarships and Prizes at UWA. She's been in the team for about 4 years now, I think, and is passionate about helping students find the right scholarships for them. So over to you now, please, Joanne.
Thank you, Professor Sean. Hello, everyone. Again, I would like to thank you for joining us today at our UWA Year 12 webinar. Being a parent of a current Year 12 going through ATAR this year, as well as hoping to be somewhat helpful in assisting your child to smoothly transition from being a high school student to a university student, is a tough role. So through this webinar, we hope that we're able to provide you with the information you require to help your child in this transition. So as introduced, my name is Joanne, and I will be talking about the scholarships and prizes we have to offer here at UWA for 2021. So scholarships and prizes at UWA. UWA offer more than $3 million in scholarship and over $400,000 in prizes annually. Scholarships and prizes are provided by community-minded individuals and philanthropists right through to global industry and market leaders. Let me share with you some examples of our industry sponsors. They are namely Bupa, CSIRO, Clough, Impact, Netball WA, Rio Tinto, Water Corporation, and Western Power. We've also have community-minded individuals who donated to UWA to support students through their studies. Some examples are the Centenary Trust for Women, also known as the CTW, David Mack, Dr. Daniel Berenson, Faye Power, Mary Dillon, and Jean Rogerson. These are just some of the examples of sponsors and donors, and we have many, many more market leaders who have chosen to invest in scholarships and prizes to assist students in their studies. So on the next slide, we have over hundreds of active scholarships, and in accordance to the UWA 2020 strategies, scholarships are categorized into 4 categories. As you can see there on the slide, they are the academic excellence, diversity, equity and inclusions, global excellence, leadership, social impact, and talent. These categories will help you as you search for scholarship on our website. For instance, the Academic Excellence Scholarship will provide financial support to students who have been recognized for their outstanding academic results. The Diversity, Equity and Inclusion Scholarship will provide opportunities to students who experience educational disadvantage due to varying circumstances such as medical conditions, disability, career carers responsibility, as well as low SES. The next category will be our Global Excellence. This category scholarship provides an enriched educational experience to both domestic and international students. This scholarship creates new and exciting collaboration beyond our geographic borders. Our final category is our Leadership, Social Impact and Talent. Scholarships under this category have been created to support students with potential to drive change and become influential leaders across society, industry, sports, and academia. Now, our next slide is what you will need to know. It's our 2021 Future Student Scholarships. We have over 80 scholarships available at present to apply if you're intending to commence UWA next year in 2021. We have scholarships for Indigenous Australians, undergraduate, honours, postgraduate, accommodation, as well as scholarship for Albany campus. So if you're currently in year 12, you will be looking for scholarship to commence your undergraduate. You can, of course, apply for accommodation scholarships as well, and the Albany-based scholarship. Application is currently open now, and it will close on the 1st of November 2020. We have actually prepared a video on our application website. The video will explain our scholarship website, the application process, how to search for a scholarship, and just a bit of a feel on our scholarship portal. But we won't be sharing it live during this live presentation, but the link will be emailed to all the participants after this webinar. The subsequent 4 slides that will be coming up, I will briefly talk about a few of our UWA automatically awarded scholarships in which they will be beneficial for you to know more, as these scholarships are for current Year 12 students planning their university entry in 2021. So the UWA Hackett Scholarship. This scholarship is of value at $1,500 or $5,000 per annum. It is for 6 semesters, which means it's for 3 years, and for fairway students who successfully secure the top 10% of their school cohort. So if you are successful in being awarded this scholarship, you can choose to reside at a residential college or out of residential college. If you choose to reside in a residential college, you will receive the $5,000 per annum scholarship for 3 years. If you choose to reside outside residential college, you will then receive the $1,500 per annum for 3 years. There are 5 residential colleges across UWA, and all of them offer great accommodation as well as collegiate experience. You may wish to check them out to experience life living on campus while you're studying at UWA. The next slide will be our UWA Principals Citizenship Award. This award is valued at $1,500. It's a once-off payment, and it's only through principal nomination. And the nomination will be in recognition of excellence, such as leadership, sportsmanship, academic achievements. To find out more, you can approach your school principal for their nominations. The next one will be our UWA Winthrop Scholarship. I emphasize again, these few scholarships that I am going through here are all automatically awarded scholarship or based on nomination. There is no application required. It will be automatically awarded when you meet the eligibility requirement. So the Winthrop Scholarship is valued at $5,000 per annum. It's up to 8 semesters, including your honours study, if you choose to go on to your honours. To be eligible for this one, you will need to obtain an ATAR of 99.9. Our final scholarship would be our UWA Engineering Scholarship. So to be eligible for this scholarship, you will need to be enrolled in an undergraduate course majoring in engineering science or a double major in automation and robotics, as well as having a direct pathway into a Master of Professional Engineering. Again, this scholarship will be automatically awarded if you meet the eligibility requirement. If you have an ATAR of 96 to 97.95, you will receive a $5,000 engineering scholarship for 1 year. If you achieve an ATAR of 98 or above, you will then receive a $25,000 engineering scholarship for a total of 5 years. That includes 3 years undergraduate and 2 years Master of Professional Engineering. Okay, that brings me to the next slide. Now, UWA entrance students have every opportunity to apply for a scholarship during their time here at UWA. Scholarships are open for students to apply in what we call rounds. The main round is what we call the Future Student Round. This round opens in June and closes early November each year. This is also the round that would be applicable to to you, all the current Year 12 parent students. As I mentioned earlier on, there are over 80 scholarships that's open now for application for 2021. This round will close on the 1st of November 2020. A further 2 rounds will be available within the year. That would be the future and current student round, as well as the semester 2 round. So if you missed out applying for our future student round, or were not successful in our future student round, there are still opportunities to try again. Scholarship availabilities in each round varies as agreements are reached at any given time with donors or sponsors. So we always encourage students to check out the scholarship availability during the round. Well, you got to be in it to win it. And our next slide. Well, we've almost come to an end of my presentation. Here are our contact details if you wish to find out more about scholarships and prizes. As mentioned, we have created a video presentation on our scholarship website on how you can search for our scholarship and how to apply for scholarship. This video will run through what you will see during the application process. We have at least over 50 scholarships available at any given round, and all you need to do as an applicant is to answer some eligibility questions, and our system will match your answer to the scholarship eligibility. You will then be notified with a list of scholarships you may be eligible for or you may not be eligible for in that particular round. The link for this video will be sent to all the participants of this webinar via email after this webinar. Okay, I guess it's question and answers now.
Great. Look, thank you again. Thanks so much, Joanne, for briefing us on the scholarships and prizes. Looking at all those, I wish that I had access to some of these scholarship opportunities back when I was a student starting in the 1980s. But look, we have about 5 minutes, I think, to take field any questions that the parents have this evening. Hopefully you've got a list in front of you there of some that are coming through.
Yep. So I'm just looking through all the questions here in Slido. The first one I've got is, how do we find out about scholarship? What are the deadlines for application? As mentioned in my presentation, the current future student round is open now. So the closing date for this round will be on the 1st of November 2020. Moving on to the next question. What scholarships are available for students, Indians living abroad? So I'm assuming this would be an international student. So we do have UWA Global Excellence Scholarship for international student. This scholarship, it's similar to a fee reduction scholarship. So the fees will be reduced at a reduced rate if the student met the eligibility requirement for it. We do have more information on this scholarship. If you wish to be sent the conditions of the scholarship, please feel free to email us and we will send you the conditions of the UWA Global Excellence Scholarship. Next question will be, how many scholarships can I apply for? You can apply for as many scholarships as you are eligible for. So all applications that we receive, we will assess them. If you are successful for the scholarship, you will be advised that you are successful for the scholarship. Some scholarship allows you to hold concurrently, but some don't allow concurrent status. So before we award you the scholarship, if you are successful in 2 different scholarships, which you can't be held concurrently, you will be notified. So then you have an option to pick a scholarship that is more beneficial or of a higher value. Next question would be, are there special scholarships that cover accommodations for students who live regionally? Definitely, 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 definitely. We do have scholarship for accommodation. As what I mentioned earlier on as well in the presentation, we have different types of scholarship available for Indigenous students, for undergraduate, for honours, for postgraduate, accommodation only scholarship, as well as Albany campus only scholarship. So you can hop onto our website, register and apply for these scholarships. So once you answer all those eligibility questions, you will then be linked to the scholarship that you could be eligible for to apply. So there are definitely scholarships for accommodation. And let's have a look at what other question we've got. can you be offered more than one scholarship? Yes, you can. Like I said, as long as the conditions of the scholarship allow the recipient to hold concurrent scholarship, the student can hold more than one scholarship. I've also got here to mention that the link for condition on our UWA Engineering Scholarship is broken. Can I confirm that if your first choice is UWA, that is automatically considered if they accept engineering, although they have placed medicine as their first preference? So we will have a look into the condition link and we'll fix that up when we can tomorrow. Now, you wanted to confirm if your first choice is UWA and if you accept an engineering, although you have placed medicine as your first preference. So the UWA Engineering Scholarship will be awarded to students who intend to come to UWA doing an undergraduate with a major in engineering science and have a direct pathway to MPE, Master of Professional Engineering. So if you do select UWA as your first preference, but did not have Master of Professional Engineering as your enrollment, you will not be awarded this UWA Engineering Scholarship unless you have selected UWA as first preference or you have specifically mentioned that you would like to be offered a place in an undergraduate course with a major in engineering science and a direct pathway to Master of Professional Engineering. Next question would be, when can we start applying for scholarship? Now, anytime now, you can start applying for scholarship. And can you give more details on the principal scholarship? What can you be nominated for by your school principal? So your school principal will have to nominate you based on, your academic achievements, your involvements in the school, your leadership potential. So all sorts of school involvement activities. Once the school principal has nominated you for this award, we will then award this scholarship to you. So really, it is based on your principal discretion whether you will be nominated or not. I think I might have answered most of the scholarship. Let me just... Yes.
Great. Well, yeah, there's plenty of interest in this area. And thanks so much, Joanne, for giving us information about scholarships and prizes. I'd like to move on to some, if I may, to some final slides for the evening. First of all, I want to obviously thank all of us, all of the people involved for being involved in this parent information webinar. And one of the key points that I really like for the audience to take away from the presentations today is that we're here to guide you along the way as you support your child to help them figure out what's the right course, what's the right pathway for them, and to hopefully identify and link their passions and their interests to these potential career outcomes. But my own experience as a parent to an adolescent learner is that you as parents will almost certainly know the strengths, the weaknesses, the desires, the goals of your children far better than any educator. And thus what we need to be doing as educators is to listen carefully to your experience and to work to match this to opportunities that best fit your child. So before we conclude for this evening, I'd like to mention a few points about the campus. First of all, Crawley campus, which is on the slide now. We have two campuses in WA, one in Crawley, which is on the screen, and one in Albany. As you may have noticed, if you can see this video of me clearly, I've got my Sir Charles Gairdner Hospital logo in my scrubs. I work just next door to the Crawley campus on the UWA Health campus. You can see in the map there at Sir Charles Gairdner Hospital. The UWA Crawley campus is located on some of the most picturesque and uncrowded grounds of any university in the world. And I think that the ability to learn in a natural environment such as this is going to be such a major asset in our post-COVID lockdown world. At the Crawley campus in particular, we have a number of events coming up next month. If we can move to the event slide, great, thank you. And these are really good ways to get a feel for UWA to help your child visualize themselves as a university student walking through the beautiful campus. And it plays a really important role in their decision-making process. The four listed here for September, the E-Zone tour. There's been some pictures of E-Zone I've seen in some of the slides already. But in particular, for those who are interested in engineering, computer science, maths, we recommend registering for the two on one of those two dates. The building itself has only just opened this year and is a very modern perspective on what a tertiary learning space should look like. We have the guided campus tours on September the 18th, which tours the whole of the UWA campus facilitated by current staff and students. I went on this a couple of years ago, and even though I've been here for many years, I was still surprised to learn some new things about the campus. Parent advisory sessions, very important, 22nd, 23rd September. You can book in a session with the student advisors, future students team, discuss your specific situation, discuss options, and we can help facilitate that conversation. So look, make sure you please check the UWA events page. These are just the events coming up shortly in September. Of course, we're running events all year round. Next slide, please. So this is our beautiful UWA campus Albany base. This is situated right in the middle of the town in the historic district there, offers the Bachelors of Science, Commerce and Arts. We have students from other parts of the university going there for other parts of their courses as well. I've got some medical students there currently. Your child may want to build a semester or two in Albany or complete their entire degree there. It's up to them. In terms of the contact details, hopefully you've got some of these contacts easy to access. We've got a dedicated team, as you're seeing tonight, of people supporting high school students and their families every year as they navigate to university. You can email, call, chat, live chat, whatever suits you, will respond. And there's some links on that page you can see there now. Of course, today's webinar it's being recorded. We will send you the link and all the contact details, and you'll have access to our UWA Future Students Virtual Hub. This is an online hub that unifies a lot of these high school student and parent questions, so you can see all the information we've been speaking about already this evening. And the final slide is, thank you very much. So this is really a thank you again for everyone for attending and being part of the webinar. The webinar has been aimed to help you better understand how UWA can set up your child for success in their future careers in the long term. Our courses, entry pathways and scholarships that are available, and we're really hoping that this has left you better informed. If you have ongoing questions, our team is going to be online here until 7:30 p.m. and so please stay online if you'd like to keep chatting with the team. As with many of these surveys, we're popping up webinars. There'll be a survey that pops up after the webinar finishes. We very much value your feedback and comments in planning future events to respond to your needs. So please spend the time if you have it to answer those. And finally, I'd like to thank all the UWA staff who presented today and the team in the background that have been working so hard supporting the event tonight and fielding the questions. And a big thank to all the parents who've logged in for your valuable time today. We're looking forward to hearing from you and seeing you on campus soon. Good night.